Welcome to my channel. If you're dreaming of owning a home, interested in property investment, or you just love everything real estate, this is the channel for you. If you're a new realtor looking to grow your skills and stay ahead in the industry, you're in the right place. I will show you simple tips, expert advice, exclusive property tours, as well as valuable insights into the market trends and sales strategies to help you succeed in the world of real estate. Whether you're a buyer, a seller, or a realtor, our goal is to provide you with the knowledge and support you need to achieve your goals. It is not breaking news anymore that 90% of millionaires make their wealth through real estate. So if you're interested in learning about how real estate works, then make sure you watch this video to the end, because we're going to explore how you can start your real estate journey. We'll break down essential concepts and strategies for beginners looking to thrive in the real estate market. Many aspiring investors feel overwhelmed by the complexities of real estate investing, unsure of where to start or what strategies to pursue. This uncertainty can be daunting, causing many to put their dreams of financial freedom on hold. The truth is, getting started with real estate investing can seem like a monumental task, but the good news is that it doesn't have to be this way. The right guidance and a willingness to learn, anyone can overcome these initial hurdles and start building a successful real estate portfolio. One of the main reasons many people struggle to get started is that they don't have a clear understanding of what they're trying to achieve. They might have a vague idea of wanting to get into real estate, but they haven't taken the time to define their goals and identify their strengths and weaknesses. A lot of people underestimate the importance of education in real estate investing. They might think that all they need is to find a good deal and the money will start rolling in. But the reality is, real estate investing is a complex process that requires a deep understanding of the market, financing options, and local laws and regulations. Without this knowledge, even the best deal can turn into a financial nightmare. Many beginners also get caught up in the idea that they need to have a lot of money to get started with real estate investing. While it's true that having some capital could be helpful, but it's by no means a requirement. There are many strategies that can be used to invest in real estate with little or no money down. We'll be covering some of these strategies in this video. We will cover key topics such as understanding different types of property financing options and the importance of research to help you be informed in decisions. One of the first things we need to decide is the type of property you want to invest in. Will it be a single family home, an apartment building, or maybe even a commercial property? Each type of property has its own unique set of benefits and drawbacks. Understanding these differences is crucial to making a smart investment. Understanding financing options is also critical to success in real estate investing. Most people assume that they need to save up enough money to pay cash for a property. But the reality is that there are many options available, from traditional bank loans to private money lenders, and from hard money loans to partner financing. There are many ways to finance your investment, even with little or no money down. Another key aspect of real estate investing is market research. This involves understanding the local economic demographics and trends to identify areas that are likely to appreciate in value over time. It also involves understanding the local real estate market, including the current prices, rental yields, and vacancies rates. By doing your research, you can identify areas that are undervalued and poised for growth, and giving you significant advantage over other investors. The importance of market research cannot be overstated. It's the key to identifying opportunities that others might miss and to avoid areas that are likely to decline in value. The turning point in your investing will be learning about the power of leveraging other people's money and how it can be exponentially increase your returns. One of the most powerful things about real estate is that it allows you to use other people's money to build wealth. This can be in form of traditional financing, such as bank loans. It can be in form of partnerships where you team up with other investors to purchase a property, which is also known as joint ventures, which is called JV. Leveraging other people's money can be a game changer for real estate investors, as it allows them to control more properties than with less of their own money. This can lead to significant increase in returns, as you're able to spread over your risk across multiple properties and reduce your exposure to any one particular market by mastering the art of leveraging other people's money. In addition to leveraging other people's money, there are many other strategies that can be used to exponentially increase your returns. One of these strategies is house hacking, which involves living in a property and renting out the other spare rooms or units to reduce your cost of living and your expenses. This is a very effective way to build wealth, especially for beginners who are just starting. Instead of being limited by your own finances, you can use other people's money to purchase more properties, increasing your returns and building your wealth faster. This is why many successful real estate investors use leveraging as a key strategy in their investing careers now. There are several main types of real estates, each serving different purposes. Number one, residential real estate, single family homes. Standalone homes designed for one family. Multi-family homes, properties designed for multiple families such as duplexes or apartment complexes. Condos or townhouses, individually owned units in multi-buildings. Vacation homes, secondary homes used for short-term stays, like the Airbnbs, the short-lets. These are really good investments. Number two, we have the commercial real estate offices or buildings, right, where you have commercial buildings used for offices. There's a building which they sublet for offices. We have schools, we have stores, we have retail malls, we have standalone shops, we have shops that have, we're in Nigeria, so I have to give you examples of places in Nigeria. ShopRite is a commercial entity, it's a commercial building. And then we have number three, the industrial real estate, where we have storage warehouses, we have manufacturing companies where they use the buildings they use, we have laboratories properties built for just laboratories, research and development. We have logistics, there's so many properties under the industrial line. And then we have the land, the raw land, the unimproved land, the agricultural land. These are all investments. In Epe today, there's some lands that are for farming and therefore lands that are for development that you can build on. So you also have to be able to differentiate which land is meant for farming and which one is meant for buildings. Number five, we have the special purpose real estates, which includes schools, educational facilities, including private schools and universities, religious buildings, church, mosques, and other places of worship. We also have the government buildings, the city halls, the courthouses, parks and recreation. All these spaces are money. Stadiums, zoos, these are real estate investment. And then number six, we have the mixed-use real estate development, combining residential, commercial, and even industrial spaces all together in one place, like a town on its own, often seen as urban areas where multiple types of real estate are housed within the same project or building environment. Each type of real estate serves a unique purpose and comes with its own investment opportunity and challenges. In summary, real estate investment is accessible to anyone willing to learn and understand these key concepts. Can you set up your own path of success? Today we're going to be talking about the essential questions we're going to ask clients or prospective property buyers. The reason why we ask these questions is for profiling. We need to know the kind of property they want to buy, we need to know their budget, we need to know their location. So we have to put everything in a very orderly format, straightforward, so they won't believe that you don't know what you're talking about as a real estate agent. And at the same time, the buyer will be more comfortable talking with you about what they want to buy. The most important question you need to ask your client is their budget. Their budget determines their spending power. And then the next one is their preferred location and type of property. When you know their budget and you know the location they want, you'll be able to profile the property to that location. Each location has a price band where you will, know that, okay, for property A in A location, this is the maximum you can go. For property B in B location, this is the maximum you can go. So you need to know the budget and you need to know the kind of property or type of property and preferred location, first of all. Another thing is you need to know how many bathrooms and bedrooms they want in their house, in their property. Because they can give you a budget which is just for probably a studio flat and tell you they want a semi-detached property. Now, you asked your client again, do you have a specific timeline for the purchase? Yes, the reason is this. It could be a wedding gift. It could be a surprise gift. It could be they want to start their new year in it. It could be a birthday gift. So you need to know the specifics, the dates, the timelines they have. And also, yes, you've asked them their budget. You also need to know whether the money is available, whether they're self-financing, whether they're going to have a mortgage, whether they've already had a pre-approved mortgage, which is a mortgage in principle. Have you secured financing or pre-approval of a mortgage? These are very, very essential questions. So number 6, what is the primary use of your property? Is it for investment? Is it residential? Is it to investment is like you want to let it out? And then is it for commercial use? If it's commercial, there's streets, the high streets where you can put commercial properties, and they are on the high side. But commercial streets, you look at commercial areas. Residential, you look at residentials. Now, in residentials, there's another subheading, which means, do you have specific amenities or features in mind? Which when you look at a residential place, you're looking at self-service gated, serviced estate gated estates non-serviced. So these are the things you will ask your client. Do you want a self-service estate? Yes, gated estate. Do you want an estate where it is serviced? All you need to do is plug and play, go with your suitcase, light, electricity, everything is packaged together for you? Or do you just want a gated estate where you can build? So these are also things you have to talk about before you start going out to look for properties. I see so many agents looking for properties and they are not fitting their clients' needs. If it's for commercial use, you ask that person, how soon do you plan to move in to start generating income from this property? Which means, how soon do you want to set up your shop? How soon do you want to rent out your place? These are questions you need to ask so that when you're selling that property, when you're looking for that property, you're also looking for a tenant to take charge of that property. So everything will work in hand as he's paying for his house, he's also getting rent from somebody who is taking care of the property. That takes us to number 8. Are you working with a real estate agent or an attorney, which is a lawyer, basically? Some lawyers actually do properties. So, I mean, it's a question you need to ask. And then you need to know the negotiation strategies and what times are you willing to consider. Because when you go out to look for a property, the guy will say, oh, it is so amount net. Net means that you can negotiate. It's not fixed. But sometimes some property owners, they bend the rules, they bend the laws. So these are things you need to consider. Have you researched the local market and comparable prices? Like I told you earlier, you need to know your market. Each area has a price band. Each area has a price band. You need to know your market. It is very, very, very important. And then the last one, what is the person's long-term purpose of that property? Even if he's living in it, is he going to upsize or downsize after a while? If it's a shop, if it's for commercial, is he going to sell it off or is he going to keep it? These are questions you need to ask your prospective property buyer. We're going to talk about titles of properties. Buying a house is a very wonderful experience, be it for property for residential, for commercial, as a gift. You need to know the title the property carries because things just happen overnight. The first document on my list is called the governor's consent. I have so many properties in my books that each time after the brief, what I say is governor's consent. What does governor's consent mean? Governor's consent means that it's a mandatory document stating that the governor of that state where you're buying your property has approved, has consented to that property itself or the land where you're buying, because the property is sitting on a land and that land needs a title, not the building. The building needs a planning approval, but the land itself needs a title. And on that title, it's a governor's consent stating that the governor has signed off that property for sale. Another title of the property is called the certificate of occupancy. The layman will see C of O. Certificate C of O, occupancy. This is a document saying that the government has signed off on that property, that you have mandatory ownership of that property. But always ask for these certificates. They're not just something they tell you by mouth, and that's a very important certificate. Number 3, we have the registered title. A registered title means that the land has been registered with the land registry. That is another document you ask for, because you can fall into the hands of Omonile. There's Omonile land where you're paying every month, you know what I mean? When you have a registered land title, it's a very good one also. Another document is called deed of assignment. A deed of assignment is a document transferring a property from one person to another legally. Another title you can look out for is your survey. The survey tells you the boundaries of your property, the boundaries where you would not go into another man's property. It's like the size. Yes, I would say the size of a property. So always ask for your registered survey. That's number 5. Registered survey of your property. In conclusion, I've discussed the various titles available for properties. Now, it's not either or. It's not that, oh, if I don't have this, I will have this. The way it goes is a C of O will come with a survey. A governor's consent will come with a survey. A deed of assignment will come with a survey. Now, if you don't have a C of O and you have a governor's consent or a deed of assignment, what you now do is you apply for your C of O. The C of O is the topmost one. Any property with a C of O is going to have everything. But if you have a deed of assignment or you have a governor's consent, it is very imperative that you go and apply for your C of O. Now, in my next video, I'm going to take each of these titles and elaborate on them. In my previous video, we talked about the various types of property titles. Now I'm going to take each title individually and talk about them for you to know what each title is all about. If you were not able to watch my previous video, the link is at the top. Click on it and watch it. The first document I'm going to talk about is the C of O, which is the Certificate of Occupancy. It's a legal document issued by the state government in Nigeria confirming the following. Number 1, ownership. The document verifies the named individual or organization that is the rightful owner of the property, making it easy to prove the ownership in case of disputes, which is very common in the country. There are always disputes on land. Number 2, the right of occupancy. It confirms the owner's right to occupy and use the property for specified purpose, such as residential, such as commercial or industrial. Number 3, security. It provides security to the owner as it prevents unauthorized claims on the property. Verification. It verifies that the property has been properly registered with the state government. You know, the last time I talked about that you register properties with the local government or with the government, state government. So that COO verifies that that property has been registered with the government. And then compliance. It ensures compliance with the state regulations and the laws regarding ownership and use. When we say state regulations, one of them is a very common one where people build on riverbanks and canals. And in Nigeria at the moment, it's a problem. Development, undertaking construction or development projects on the property. When you want to develop a property in Lagos, Nigeria, or any part of Nigeria, you will have to have a COO. With the COO, it tells you that you can actually develop that property. So if you have the right certificate of occupancy, you can go to the bank with it, you can take it to court, you can do anything with it. That is what is called the certificate of occupancy. What does it mean when the governor of a state in Nigeria grants consent for a land transaction? Is the governor's consent recognized as a valid land document? In this video, we will explore the concept of governor's consent and its role in solidifying the legality of land transactions in Lagos State. A lot of briefs have been coming up and we have our documents and we see governor's consent. What exactly is the governor's consent? It refers to the governor's approval or agreement or permission for the sale or finalization of a land transaction within the state. Additionally, the governor's consent is required for specific purposes. When is a governor's consent required? Number one, when you're selling a land that has a COO as its title document. The COO is a land title documentation, which we discussed in my previous video, that grants the holder the right to own the land and the use of the land for 99 years. During the 99-year period, the holder of the COO is regarded as the original owner of the land, the first to occupy undeveloped or virgin land, someone who occupies the land free from government acquisition. Number two, when you're transferring ownership of land to someone else. Number three, selling land within the 99-year period of the COO. Number four, the new owner intends to sell the land in the future. For future resale, the governor's consent must be obtained as long as the land has a COO. Yeah, we've talked about what a governor's consent is. We've talked about what it means and who needs it. Now, we need to know how to process the governor's consent. I will give you the important documents you need. You need your survey, you need your deed of assignment. We'll be talking about that one in my next episode. You also need your COO. These three important documents are very necessary before you go and apply for a governor's consent. When you get to the Lagos State government, they will tell you exactly what you need to add to those ones. In my next video, we'll be talking about deed of assignment. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification. And if you have any questions, please drop it in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to respond. Don't be too lazy to read your deed of assignment, because sometimes the lawyer just copies and pastes somebody else's deed of assignment. Your deed of assignment is actually very committing, because that is where you're going to sign. What do you read on your deed of assignment? Have you seen the funny clauses involved? I have seen a deed of assignment. The seller was saying that for every person that comes in the tenure of them owning the property, they should give him 500,000. What for? So today we're going to talk about the deed of assignment. In the Nigerian property market, a deed of assignment is a legal document that transfers ownership of a property from one person, the assigner, to the other person, the assignee. It is a crucial document in a property transaction, outlining the terms and conditions of the transfer. What exactly do we need in the deed of assignment? Number one,
Parties involved, the assigner and the assignee, that's the buyer and the seller. The property description number 2, which includes the location, on the size and the boundaries. When we talk of location, I said when we were talking about questions we asked the buyer, you ask them where they want their property. So the location matters because it has to be put on the deed of assignment. The price has to be put on the deed of assignment. The people selling have to be put on the deed of assignment. Number 3, we consider the purchase price and any other compensation. Number 4, transfer of ownership, including the rights and the interests of both parties. And then covenants, if there's any promises made by anybody. Like I said at the beginning, on a deed of assignment, I saw that they had promised a 500,000 naira payout to anybody that comes in the course of their tenure, the 99 years, to claim ownership. These are things you have to look out for. Number 6, warranties or guarantees made by either of the parties. Maybe they've given you a 99-year lease, or they're transferring ownership based on one thing or the other. So all these things are being minuted in the deed of assignment. Number 7, the history of the ownership of the land, the recital, has to be included in the deed of assignment. If it's been transferred from Mr. A to Mr. B to numbers, everything, it's mapped out, it's noted. Then if there's an indemnity liability protection for the assignee, it will be also put inside the deed of assignment. Number 9 is a governing law. What happened in terms of Nigerian law? I'm actually going to bring a lawyer, a real estate lawyer, into my series, and she will tell you the pros and cons of every document, why you need every document. And finally, the signatures of the assignee, the assigner, and 2 witnesses witnessing for both the assignee and the assigner. This deed of assignment is written by a lawyer. So when you see properties and you see 5% agency fee, 5% legal fee, this is where your legal fee is going. What exactly is the importance of the deed of assignment? Number 1, it transfers ownership legally. Number 2, it provides proof of ownership. Number 3, it protects the assignee's interest. Number 4, it ensures compliance with the Nigerian property law. So you have to read your deed of assignment to make sure that everything, every little grainy thing is being included in that deed. The deed of assignment is usually prepared by a lawyer and must be signed, number 1, by both parties, both the assignee and the assigner, witnessed with at least 2 people, number 3, stamped with a duty stamp, and registered with the relevant authorities, e.g. the land registry, because ownership has changed hands. In conclusion, a deed of assignment is a critical document in Nigerian property transactions, ensuring that the transfer of ownership is legal, transparent, and protected under the law by clearly outlining the terms of the sale and safeguarding the interests of both the buyer and the seller. It also provides peace of mind and serves as an undeniable proof of ownership. Always consult a real estate lawyer to guide you through this process and ensure that all legal requirements are met, securing your investment. We have talked about the deed of assignment. Let's quickly look at what a registered survey is all about. A registered survey plan is a document that measures the boundary of a parcel of land to give an accurate measurement and description of that land. The people that handle the survey issues are surveyors, and they are regulated by an office of the Survey General in Lagos State. As it relates to survey issues in Lagos, what is the difference between a survey and a registered survey? A provisional survey serves as a preliminary tool for assessing land, while registered surveys provide legally recognized detailed information necessary for the land ownership and development. Is the registered survey a land title? A registered survey is not a land title. Also, a freehold land isn't a title as well. But a freehold and a registered survey is free from government acquisition, and processing of COO is perfecting of the title is possible. How do I know a registered survey plan? To confirm the authenticity of a survey plan, a simple process is just put in place. All you need to do is scan the barcode on your survey and it will just bring out the details of the land. A survey is only registered if it is signed by the Survey General of the state. A lot of touts will tell you they have the blue survey, the red survey, the green survey. The only survey that is classified as a registered survey is signed by the Survey General of the state.
Recently in Lagos, houses are being demolished. Ground zero. Landlords become homeless, properties lost. Why is this happening? We need to know. In this video, we're going to talk about this problem. Why houses are being demolished in Lagos State. The first reason is some of these houses are built on riverbanks. They're built at the edge of canals. They don't allow free flow of water. So in these regions, we have a lot of flood. Why is that so? Number one is the planning permits. The planning permit is not authentic. When you go out to buy a property, be it land, be it a house, always look at your building permit and verify it. Verify your building permit because a lot is happening in the world now. You can just I've seen someone who was given a building permit which wasn't even authentic. So due diligence has to be done. When you go to the land registry to register your property or to check, there's something called a search when you're about to buy a property. When you go to search your property, always make sure that the property tallies with what you're buying so that you don't have this issue. And also don't do Omonile business. Omonile business is risky business. Risky business. I talked about in my last video about the survey. People flag surveys here and there, blue, yellow, red, green. The only survey that is authentic is the one signed by the Survey General. If it's not signed, it is not authentic. So due diligence is really, really needed. It's cheaper to do this than to lose a home. It's cheaper to do this than to be rendered homeless with your properties. There was so many demolitions in Lagos that people were actually weeping because it was their life. So what do we choose? Is it our life or a few nairas? So a lawyer is coming in next. She's going to tell us about everything we need to do. A stitch in time saves 9. She's going to teach us on everything right from viewing your property to paying for it, to possession of it. I'm passionate about this because I feel the pain of people. I feel the pain of people losing their homes. I really, really feel the pain. So stay with me and we would make sure that you learn how to do things the right way. There are various types of building permits. There's the new building permit for new construction projects. There's the renovation permit for renovation or alteration projects. There is the demolition permit for demolition projects. There is the certificate of completion, which is issued after a project is completed. There are consequences for not obtaining a building permit. Number 1, penalties and fines. Number 2, demolition. The properties can be demolished, and that's what we're seeing everywhere now. Legal action. And number 4 is demolition. Hey, houses are being demolished everywhere. Ikota, Orchid Road, Abuliegba, and this is just because of their building permits. Please ensure that you get all your papers and you get everything right before building, before construction, because the consequences are just too expensive. Your building permit is very, very important. While developing your property, these are the key things you need to know. You need to ensure that the building construction meets the safety standards and regulations of Lagos State. Verify that the project complies with the Lagos State Urban and Regional Planning Law. Prevent unauthorized building constructions or renovations. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. Did you know that over 1.6 million Nigerians living abroad are investing back home? But let me ask you, have you ever wondered what challenges they face when trying to build their dream homes or businesses in Nigeria? Today we're diving into the topic that's super relevant for any diasporan looking to invest in Nigeria. Whether you're planning to build a home, a business, or anything in between, understanding the local landscape is crucial. So let's talk about the challenges in building in Nigeria as a diaspora. One major hurdle is the bureaucratic red tape. Trust me, navigating through the local government systems can feel like a maze. You've got to deal with permits, approvals, and plain confusion of who to talk to. Then there's the issue of reliable information. You may think you're well informed, but local knowledge is key. Many diasporans get caught off guard by land laws or zoning regulations that aren't really clear or widely published. It's like playing a game where the rules keep changing. Cultural differences can also play a big role. What works in the US or UK might not fly in Nigeria. Building practices, negotiation styles, and even expectations can vary significantly. It's essential to be well-minded and adaptable. In reference to the documentation you need for your intended property, I have discussed them in various videos. Just click on the link and you will see everything there. Let's not forget about the financial aspect. Currency fluctuation and economic instability can throw a wrench into your budget. You might find that what seems like a solid investment on paper doesn't translate well when you factor in local conditions. Now, let's dig deeper into some specifics about the building process itself. First, it's land acquisition. Finding a piece of land that fits your needs is one thing, but ensuring it's legally available and free from disputes is another. You need to hire a local lawyer who knows the ins and outs of land law in Nigeria to help you avoid potentially costly pitfalls like Omonile land. Your auntie might say, "Oh, I have a land somewhere," like I said previously, and it might be Omonile land. Those ones will not give you peace of mind because they'll keep coming, they'll keep coming. So these are things you have to look at. Next, navigating local regulations can feel overwhelming. Each state has its own rules, and what's acceptable in one might not be in another. It is vital to do your homework and consult with local architects or builders who understand the local landscape. They can save you a ton of headaches down the line. Then there's the importance of the local partnerships. Building in Nigeria is often about who you know, having trustworthy local contacts, be it contractors, suppliers, even friends can make a world of difference. They can provide you insight that just isn't available online or help you smooth over any bumps in the road. Lastly, don't forget about the construction itself. Quality control can be a concern. It's still worth investing in a good project manager who can oversee the work and ensure that everything is up to standard. Talking about construction, due to the fluctuation in the dollar, you wonder why the dollar is affecting construction. It is. The steel is brought in and now it's so expensive. So you now see developers shortcutting or they just cut corners, cutting corners in building. They might decide to buy blocks from a roadside block maker who produces substandard blocks. You need a good quality control project manager to help you in construction, because that is very important. And also electricity. I've forgotten about that. Your wires, your cables, they need to be top notch. Your plumbing, potential dangerous areas in construction. I think it's called M&E. It is important you get people who are certified to do that job for you. I want to tell you a story. A neighbor of mine who's a diaspora sent people to build her house for her. In the middle of the night, dead night, they called us. There was fire. This is true life. They had a fire outbreak. Why was that? Because the wiring wasn't done right. This is not what anybody wants. Nobody wants to be burnt down in their own home. So you have to get somebody who is qualified for that job. If you're coming down to the country to make sure that the wiring is done well, come down. It's cheaper than a burnt down house. Plumbing, that's another disaster. I have seen houses where the plumber would use pipes that are meant for cold water and he will run it through the water heater. And things, what happens? It bursts. I have experienced it. I have seen a plumber who decides to block the outflow, and then there was a flood. In fact, I experienced it personally. So your plumbing, your electricity, you have to make sure. Just bottom line is get a qualified project manager to manage your project. Let me share you another story. A friend of mine, let's call her Ada, moved back to Nigeria after living in Canada for over a decade. He had dreams of building a beautiful eco-friendly home. At first, she hit a wall. The land she wanted was tied up in legal issues, and then she struggled to find reliable contractors. But Ada didn't give up. She reached out to local builders and formed a partnership with a well-respected architect. Together, they navigated the local regulations and found a way around the land issue. Through persistence and local knowledge, she finally built her dream home. Sometimes you get funny. There were times houses were being demolished. Why? Because aside from the houses being built on the wrong places, they were on land under government acquisition. So these are things people in diaspora should always think about. Don't allow your my auntie, uncle, mommy, daddy take you to one land and the Omonile will come, this one will come, and then at the end of the day, you build the house and then the government comes to acquire the land. So let's not get into that kind of trouble. So to wrap it up, building in Nigeria as a diaspora comes with its fair share of challenges: bureaucratic hurdles, unreliable information, cultural differences, and financial concerns. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you faced any challenges while trying to build in Nigeria? Drop your experience in the comments below. And if you're interested in learning more about real estate or want to buy a property in Nigeria, check out my next video where we dive deeper into investment opportunities. If you want to buy a property, visit my Instagram page at Daki A Properties. Don't forget to like my channel. Don't forget to like my channel. Please click on the like, tap the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. Real estate financing in Nigeria has grown by 20% in the last few years. More people are getting into this market, and today we'll explore how we can be part of this exciting journey. If you're thinking of investing in properties or buying a home in Nigeria, today's topic is a must-watch. We're diving into the real estate financing, breaking down how it works and how we can take advantage of it. So let's get started. Before we get into the exciting part, let's be real about the challenges. If you've ever tried to get a loan for property in Nigeria, you know what it's not a walk in the park basically. Here are some of the hurdles. High interest rates. One of the biggest issues in the high interest rates is the numbers can be scary, and it often feels like the repayment process is never ending. For example, say you're looking to secure a loan of 15 million naira to purchase a home. With interest rates as high as 20 to 25%, the repayment can feel overwhelming and you might find yourself stuck in a cycle of payments that seems to go on and on and on forever. The second loan requirement is strict loan requirements. The strict requirements from banks, credit scores, paperwork. At times, it seems like you need a miracle to get approval. Imagine having a steady income but still getting denied because your credit score doesn't meet the bank's minimum threshold, or being asked for additional collateral that you simply don't have. Number 3, limited access to loans. Limited access to loans. Even if you meet the requirements, many people still struggle to access loans due to the rigid standards set by the financial institutions. For instance, some banks might tighten their lending policies, or even the property you're interested in might not meet their strict valuation requirements, leaving you without viable options. It can be super frustrating. You might have big dreams of owning a property. When it comes to finances, you feel like, oh, there's a giant wall standing in my way. What can you do? Don't worry, we're about to explore some options that can make your dream a reality. We've seen the challenges people face in getting a loan. Now let's look at the solutions. One traditional route is getting a mortgage from a bank, but be cautious of the high interest rates. While it may cover the property purchase, the total repayment might be much higher than you anticipated. Next, we have the microfinance institutions. These guys tend to be more flexible, offer better terms for smaller loans. For instance, let's say you need a loan of 5 million to buy a plot of land. A microfinance or bank might offer you a loan at a lower interest rate and even fewer paperwork. However, make sure you do your research before signing any contracts to avoid any hidden fees or unfavorable terms down the line. Now there's an exciting option. Yay! You might have not thought about crowdfunding. Yes, crowdfunding is starting to make waves in the real estate world. Basically, a group of people pool their money together to invest in one property. For example, instead of taking on the full cost of 50 million naira development project, you can team up with others and contribute 1 million each. This spreads the financial burden and allows you to become a part owner of a property without the stress of taking on massive debt alone. Whether you're going to the bank route or trying out microfinance or even teaming up with others through crowdfunding, make sure you do your research. Coming back to crowdfunding, I saw a woman recently on Instagram, and that's what she does. She crowdfunds for various things, buying bags, buying this, buying that. And recently, I saw her build a house in Yaba, I think a 4-bedroom flat, and it was crowdfunded. So now she's looking for tenants. I'm planning to bring her on to one of my videos. She will share her experience. Here's where it gets interesting. Look at the same real life success story to inspire you. Take Tunde for example. He faced the same challenges, high interest rates, tough requirements, but he didn't give up. Instead, he worked on his credit score, built a solid saving plan, and eventually secured a loan through a microfinance institution. Today, Tunde owns multiple properties, and there's Aisha also, who joined a crowdfunding group. She started with a small investment and became part of a much larger project. Now she's earning returns from her property she couldn't have afforded on her own. This story shows that with the right approach and the same persistence, you can make it happen. All right, we've covered a lot today. We've talked about the challenges of securing real estate finances in Nigeria, but also explored solutions like bank loans, microfinance, crowdfunding. But the key takeaway here is that it is possible. You just need to know your options and have a plan. Now it's your turn. Have you had any experience in real estate finances? What worked and what didn't work for you? Let me know in the comment section. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss more tips and insights on real estate. Thanks for watching and see you next video. Even with the high level of development in Lagos State and rich neighborhoods, there are still people without a home, and this is surprising because the real estate industry is doing well. Today we'll look into why this is happening and what is really going on with homelessness in our community. Real estate in Nigeria has seen significant growth, especially in urban centers like Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, attracting both local and foreign investors. However, several underlying issues and controversial aspects are often overshadowed by the booming market. Here's a closer look at what people argue. Number one, property price inflation. Property prices in cities like Lagos have skyrocketed, making it increasingly difficult for middle income earners to afford homes. This inflation is largely driven by foreign investments and wealthy Nigerians looking for a safe way to store wealth, often leading to overvaluation of properties. In certain neighborhoods, developers sometimes keep prices high artificially, creating a bubble that might eventually burst. Number two, speculative investments. Many properties are being bought purely for speculative purposes, meaning buyers are not looking to live in them but hoping for the price to appreciate. As a result, there are many unoccupied homes, especially luxury apartments and estates, even in high demand areas like Victoria Island, Lekki. These empty buildings are a sign of potential instability, with the demand driven more by speculation than genuine need. Number three, lack of affordable housing. While high-end real estate is flourishing, affordable housing for the majority of Nigerians is scarce. The government's initiative to address the housing deficit has been slow, and private developers even prioritize luxury development over low-income housing due to the higher profit margins in the former. This means a widening gap between the rich and the poor. Number four, land grabbing and corruption. Land acquisition in Nigeria is notoriously fraught with corruption and illegal activities. Omonile, a term used to describe local land grabbers, often claim ownership of land and extort money from developers or individuals looking into build. Some landowners even sell the same plot of land to multiple buyers, leading to disputes and legal battles. The government has tried to intervene, but corruption within the system, regulatory agencies, means this problem persists. Poor infrastructures. While luxurious estates are popping up across the country, especially in Lagos and Abuja, the infrastructure surrounding these areas often lags. Many high-end developments are built in regions without adequate road access, electricity, water, or sewage systems. This means buyers often face hidden costs to address these infrastructure gaps after purchasing a property. Number six, regulatory challenges. Real estate sectors lack a unified regulatory framework, making it difficult to navigate for both developers and buyers. The process of registering land, securing building permits, and dealing with zoning laws is often opaque. This allows room for shady practices and further complicates land ownership. Making due diligence is a significant challenge. Number seven, the impact on urban planning. Rapid real estate developers without proper urban planning has led to chaotic city layouts and overcrowding in places like Lagos. The high demand for housing and commercial spaces leads to developers to build areas prone to flooding or with poor drainage systems, exacerbating the system's infrastructural problems. Number eight, a more annoying one is the foreign influence. Foreign investors, particularly from the Middle East and China, are pouring money into the Nigerian real estate market. While this brings much needed capital, it also means local control over the key assets is diminishing. Some argue that foreign influence is driving up prices beyond what locals can afford, foiling an unsustainable market growth. Adamawa State in Nigeria has diamonds and other mineral resources. A Russian survey found commercial quantities of diamonds in Adamawa. In 2016, the state government announced that a Swiss firm would begin mining diamonds, gold, bentonite, gypsum, kaolin. I mean, we are blessed and we're taking advantage of. Now, let's get into it. I'm talking the way it hurts me. We own these resources. They can't come here, take our resources, and get rich, and people are suffering. People are homeless. They can't even afford to rent a home. Imagine a rich man not being able to eat, and he's got riches that he can't touch. It's so tight that even an average man can't afford house rent. I rent out properties. I see I see people drawing back because the rent is too high. We need to have a regulatory body. I know that every area has its ban on rent, but we still need to regulate it. I know the government is trying to say you mustn't take more than 1 year's rent, but the 1 year's rent is still high. At the end of the day, it's high. In conclusion, the Nigerian real estate boom may seem like a gold mine in the surface, but beneath lies a tangled web of problems that could unravel if left unchecked. The government and industry players need to address these challenges to ensure that the market grows in a more sustainable and equitable way, balancing the need of investors with those of the everyday Nigerians. I hope you've learned a thing or two today. It's been a pleasure talking. I'm sorry I was emotional, but please subscribe to my channel, press the bell, and we'll see you in my next video. What's causing houses to fall apart in Nigeria? Did you know that every year thousands of houses in Nigeria are reported as deteriorating or collapsing? In fact, it's estimated that 50,000 homes face severe structural issues annually. These aren't just numbers, they represent lives affected, families displaced, communities torn apart. The root of this problem lies in the quality of the housing in Nigeria. Housing is not just having a roof over your head, it's about safety, stability, and community. When homes fall apart, the effect ripples through families, neighborhoods, and the entire city. Today, we're talking about the most touching topic, and that is why buildings collapse in Nigeria. We have seen so many buildings collapse in the past few years. We've seen a high-rise collapse in Ikoyi. We've seen a building collapse on Lagos Island. We've seen a building collapse in Gomo. Today we're going to talk about different reasons why buildings collapse in Lagos, Nigeria, and how we can avoid it. Number one, poor building materials. One major reason is the use of poor building materials. Substandard cement, sand, and concrete blocks are often used to cut costs. But these weak materials can't withstand the element of heavy loads. This leads to structures that are simply not built to last. A lot of people buy blocks from roadside sellers, which they're not standardized. This because these developers or builders, they now build high rises, which, I mean, those are the ones that are collapsing that we've seen so far. They build high rises with substandard blocks. I'm going to recommend a block making company. I'm going to bring the CEO of that big block making company to my program, and he will talk to you about what you need to build, the strength of block you need to build any type of building, high rise, low rise, no rise. He will give you a lot of information. I'm not an engineer, so I have limited information I can give to you, but he's going to give you a lot of information and insight into the block making industry and why we should not buy substandard blocks. Another significant factor is inadequate construction techniques, shoddy workmanship. We see buildings and that don't even have project managers. They just gather some artisans, Baba Molika, Baba Saida, Baba this, Baba that. You just see them building. They actually don't know what they're doing. All they know is that they're mounting blocks. They're mounting substandard blocks, substandard workers, mounting substandard blocks, and they're building a house, 2 stories, 3 stories, everything substandard. Obviously, what will happen? It collapses. We also have the lack of proper foundation and insufficient structural support, which often goes unnoticed during construction. These mistakes cause buildings to collapse like a pack of cards, leaving families in despair. 14 years ago, I discovered that there was something called raft foundation. We have various types of foundations, but because these houses are built by different artisans, in fact, the artisans that come today are not the ones that come tomorrow. There's no continuity in the building. There's no research on the soil. There is nothing. All they do is they just mounting blocks, and it's a recipe for disaster. Yes, when the house is finished, because everybody is ignorant, you see, oh, what a beautiful house, until you see the thing collapsing. Factor 3 is now heavy rainfall and flooding. Nigeria's rainy season, heavy rainfall, it would erode the foundation that was even not done well. Now, let's look at it this way. A house is being built by shoddy workmen, no project manager. The foundation is bad. The blocks are substandard. What else would you expect? Oh, heavy rainfall. And what it does is, as the erosion happens, your foundation, the shoddy foundation, is being exposed. Factor number 4 is aging infrastructure. Aging infrastructure is another growing concern. Older buildings, especially those without proper maintenance, deteriorate over time. Cracks from foundations weaken, and eventually these structures become a ticking time bomb waiting to collapse. Factor number 5, overloading. Overloading buildings. Naija, extra floors, add one. Okay, add one. This puts serious strain on the structure, like adding more weight into a system that is already under pressure, and that pressure can cause buildings to fall. I mean, a building collapsed in Ikoyi due to overloading, and it collapsed. Factor number 6, soil erosion is another silent culprit. When erosion weakens the soil around the building's foundation, it compromises the stability of the structure. This can be triggered by poor drainage, deforestation, or heavy rainfalls. And a major one is corruption in the system. Builders cut corners, buy substandard materials, they ignore building codes, they often get away with it by bribing officials with little no enforcement of construction standards. The safety of the building is often compromised for personal gain. These factors, poor materials, bad workmanship, environmental issues, aging infrastructures, overloading, soil erosion, and corruption are all contributing to the growing housing crisis in Nigeria. But the question remains, what can be done about it? Solutions will require collective effort, from enforcing stricter building codes and regulations to better management of environmental risk and addressing the root causes of corruption. It's time we ensure that these places we live are safe and secure and sustainable. Only then we can truly protect our community and prevent more homes from falling and more lives being lost. It's such a pity. My heart bleeds to the families of people that were lost in such situations. Some people died in such situations, and some people have not been recovered. So from what I said in my previous videos about quality, always ensure you get a quality controlled and assured project manager. Thanks for watching my video today. I believe you've learned a thing or two. Kindly subscribe to my channel, like, and press the bell for upcoming videos. Bye-bye. If you're planning to invest in real estate in Lagos, one of the biggest challenges you might face is dealing with Omo-Onile problems.
Run.
These individuals are descendants of the original landowners who claim rights over the land and demand illegal fees from buyers or developers. Unfortunately, their actions can disrupt property transactions, leading to stress and financial losses. Who is an Omonile? The term Omonile translates to children of the landowners. These individuals typically parade themselves as landowners, demanding for payments at various stages of development. For example, they request for money during foundation phase, when you're roofing, even when you're installing plumbing or windows. There is no limit to their demands. They're just funny people, and they can be very aggressive. Let's take a deep dive into the history of Omonile. The backstory of Omonile practices ties back to how land ownership was handled historically in Lagos. In polygamous families, land was passed down through generations over time as areas developed and land values soared. Disputes arose from families within families. For instance, some family members might sell the land without informing others, leaving excluded relatives to resurface later, asserting claims and demanding money. This situation has led to confusion and disputes. Omo means child in Yoruba language in Nigeria, and Onile means owner. Oni means owner, Ile means land. So it's the child of the land owner. In most cases, especially in polygamous setups, Lagos used to be a very, very polygamous area. So in polygamous setups, you see children of one wife, children of another wife. Most times they're not united, neither do they pass information to each other. The child of one wife might decide to sell off the land that belongs to the family without informing the siblings of the other wife or other wives. So when the land is now sold out and they've received money, they've done everything, you now see the children of the other wives come out. And who do they go to? They go to the land. And who is on the land? The new owner. And they start disturbing that person. And when they disturb that person, they won't just disturb and say, oh, this land is ours, somebody, my brother sold it, I don't know, my brother sold it. There will be that kind of catastrophe. They now become a pest. One, when the land is bought because they didn't know anything about it, they will ask for money. Two, when the owner of the land now says, okay, I'm not ready to build now, I just want to have a fence, let me fence it. They will be there. It's like they have a snitch somewhere who is giving them info, like commando intel, giving them info. They're starting the roof, you see them. They don't come, it's not one person that comes actually. They come in a group. So they are people that we really need to walk around. You keep their money to one side, but at the same time, you don't take them, you don't allow them to push you around. The last time a barrister came, Barrister Dejomotayo, she actually said it. She said, when you're dealing with them, there's some things you have to put in place. So why is this Omonile issue a problem? Let me explain. Omoniles might not have the proper ownership documents like the C of O, making it difficult to confirm their claims. Their actions are illegal. They can include the forceful takeover of properties, fraudulent resales, and harassment of buyers. Some developers even have to buy their property all over again because they had to abandon it when these guys come in to cause trouble. What are the ways to handle this type of, what word should I use? I don't know what word to use, but how do we just handle the Omoniles? To tackle this menace, the Lagos State government introduced the Lagos State Property Protection Law in 2016. This law criminalizes illegal land grabbing and harassment by Omoniles. Offenders face penalties including fines up to 5 million naira or imprisonment for 5 years. Additionally, the government set up a task force to resolve land disputes and protect buyers. The issuance of C of O's, that's the certificate of occupancy, has been streamlined to make ownership clearer and reduce conflicts. Since these measures were introduced, hundreds of cases have been resolved. So how do we avoid Omonile troubles in Lagos? While it's almost impossible to escape the Omonile completely, these are ways to minimize the interference. Number one, do thorough research before buying any land. Investigate its ownership. Investigate the ownership history also. Take the seller's word at face value and speak with the locals. Consult real estate professionals or check with government offices to confirm the land has no ownership disputes. In the deed of assignment the other time, we said there should be a recital of the land, which is the history of the land. So when you check your deed of assignment of the land you want to buy, because the seller is also going to have his own deed of assignment, you look through it and you look at the recital of the land and see that it tallies with the story they tell you. Also, it is very, very important that you have local knowledge of where you're buying. I spoke about that in the diasporan video. You have to interact with the locals. Ignore their offers when possible. That's number 2. Instead of buying directly from Omonile, work with an established real estate developer, which is what I do. I will help you verify your title. I'll make sure that there is no dispute on your land. And if it's a house, you just move into a peaceful home with no dispute for a fee though. Number 3, for every land in Lagos, there is always a head person, either the Baale or the Olori Ebi. There is somebody you can talk to. So if you choose the route of dealing with the Omonile and using them, you have to involve the Olori Ebi, which is the head of the family. You involve the Baale or the king of that area, and also make sure that the titles are verified, which also reduces your risk. Number 4, demand proper documentation. Ensure the land has its necessary legal documents, including the certificate of occupancy, the survey plan, the deed of assignment, and verify these documents with a lawyer to ensure authenticity. Avoid lands with incomplete or suspicious paperwork. These things we have discussed in various videos. All the links are in my description box, so you can check them out to watch these videos. Number 5, verify ownership. Always confirm who legally owns the land. Some lands are government owned, and buying them without proper clearance could result in loss. Some people bought lands without clearance that was actually acquired by the government. I mean, you can see a person building his house thinking he's got a beautiful house, and all of a sudden government acquires the land. I think I've spoken about this in one of my videos. You will see it in the link below. Also, a lawyer also confirmed it, and I'm going to add her link to my description. Number 6 is documentation. Everything discussed, payment, discussion has to be documented and signed. If you can use your phone to record a discussion, record it, because it's your money. It's money coming out of your pocket. So you have to protect yourself by documenting everything. If you're making a payment, document it with each party's signature. If you're having a discussion relating to that property, document it and let the other party sign, because it still involves money. If you're going to view the property, document it. Take a video of what you've gone to view and let the person selling the land to you talk in that video, because it takes a lot. It's a lot. Another thing is hire a lawyer, because when you look at briefs, I mean land briefs, houses, there is 5% agency fee, that's to your realtor. There is 5% legal fee. That legal fee is for the lawyer to check your documents, making sure that everything is airtight in place. And just don't compromise. Don't compromise on anything. Make sure that your documentation is right. An experienced lawyer, real estate lawyer, that you're paying 5% or 10% to, is going to they will pick up all the little things that you might not even understand. And if you're a lawyer yourself, you can pay yourself to do your legal work, but make sure your eyes are open, because you're reading something that concerns you. Now, we've talked about Omonile, settling Omonile, what you need, who you need to go to buy your property, to verify. We've talked about so many things. Now we've bought the property. Immediately fence your property, fence your land. If you're buying land, fence it, personalize it, fence it, because you need to prevent encroachment. You need to prevent your land being sold to another person, which is very common. I mean, if you're going the Omonile route, you have to beat them to their own game, as in fence. Not some people they will come and say, oh, I did 3 coach of blocks. No, don't do coach of blocks, do fence. I'm being passionate because I've seen people buy land and the next thing is they've been duped. There was a story going around in England at some point that someone sent money home, bought a piece of land, and they were sending the person in the UK pictures of a land next door, how they were building it and everything. And the person came home and there was nothing, no land, no building. So if you're coming from abroad, come home. It's the cost of the flights is nothing compared to the cost of the land. Come home, see your land, mark it, fence it, put your fence, put your gates. You will know the gate, take a picture and then go back. Don't just send somebody, oh, I have a trusted friend in England, in Lagos, and she's going to help me, she's going to buy me. No. Come home, buy the land and go back. I hope you've learned a thing or two about buying land from Omonile. Yes, they can be a menace, but if you take the appropriate steps, you're safe. And you can also reach out to Jackie A Properties. You can send us a DM on Instagram. You can send me an email, and you can put something in the comment section, and I will get back to you. Today we're diving deep into the world of real estate, but with a twist. We all know real estate involves big decisions, big investments, but how do we often think about the legal side? Many people have questions but just can't afford the legal fees or don't have access to a lawyer. That's why today we'll be getting answers to some of those burning questions for you. Joining us is a special guest. You'll get to meet her in a bit. She's a seasoned lawyer in real estate. She's here to help us navigate the legal's ins and outs. Let's welcome Barrister Yewande Omonile. You're welcome to my little space.
Thank you for having me. I must say that you're doing awesomely well. I watch your videos and I love what I see.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
So today we want to ask you a lot of questions that people don't think about before they buy a property, be it land, be it a house, but they're just lost, and most times they lose their savings, they lose their money. Basically, please explain to us what an individual or a corporate organization would need. I have some questions lined up from various people, what they would need to do before they buy a property. What is the legal process in buying a property in Nigeria?
Thank you. The legal process involves, more than 2-3 steps. First and foremost is physical inspection. Real estate is not something you shop online and it's delivered to your doorstep. You have to see what you want to buy. Physical inspection is very important. You need to be sure that the property really exists.
Okay.
Yes. And then you conduct your search and investigate title. That's the next step. So if someone should tell you or market a property to you, the next thing you do is go and see the property, which we termed physical inspection, and the next thing, go and conduct your search. How do you do that? You visit the land registry, you visit the Surveyor General's office. However, where the property is tied to an estate, like it forms part of the estate of the deceased person, then you need to take a trip to the probate registry as well.
Wow.
Yes, to ensure that the ownership is true and whatever they have on ground meets what is being marketed to you. And then also you prepare contract of sale. There must be contract of sale or what you call purchase agreements. After the signing of that and closing the signature part of the contract of sale, the next step is to prepare deed of assignment. That will be the instrument of transfer.
Wow.
Yes. So deed of assignment conveys or transfers the owner's interest onto the buyer.
The assignee, assigno.
Exactly. So you know the language already. Okay.
I've learned so much in this.
Yes.
Okay.
So and then we proceed to the registration of the title. So once the buyer takes possession, the next thing is for the buyer to go and register his or her own interest as well. So which is the registration of that title.
Doing all that, it's basically due diligence.
Absolutely.
You go there, you see,
Yes.
you buy.
Mm-hmm.
What does it cost? How much do a client, a prospective buyer, how much do they pay for that service of having a lawyer, doing a search, going to the land registry? Because I understand that when you're going to the land registry or the office of the Survey General, you have to be also vigilant in the kind of documents that you're trying to verify.
Mm-hmm.
And also the deed of assignment, the contract of sale. Obviously, you're not doing everything for free. So how much does
Absolutely.
that cost? So the buyer would actually have it in mind that, okay, I'm going to go through these channels and I'm going to pay out this amount of money.
Okay. So for legal fees, really, legal fees is not fixed. It's not a fixed sum. Everything is is percentage based, and it hovers between 5% to 10% of the value of property. That is the cost of the property. So whatever you're paying for the property, you're paying the lawyer 5% or 10% of the total sum to conduct the search, to do all of that up to perfection of your title. However, the buyer will have to pay the required fees, which is not part of the legal fees of the lawyer. It is separate.
Of the lawyer. Okay, good. Now, another question that comes up is, I have a lot of listings and they tell me the title is the governor's consent. And the governor's consent, in my own layman's language, is tied to the seller of the property's name. So how do you now transfer that consent to the name of the buyer? And also, what's the process like?
Well, governor's consent is nothing other than the governor allowing you to transfer your interest in a property.
Okay, transfer of ownership.
Yes.
Okay.
So whatever title you have, you must obtain governor's consent before you are able to transfer. Without the governor's consent, whatever transfer you're making to a buyer is not valid. So it is the governor's consent that gives you the right to transfer your interest. And then to obtain governor's consent, there are different steps. You have to submit copies, I think about 4 copies of deed of assignment, the rules of title. There's some specific fees you have to pay as well. And then you do your application, you send in your application, you pay the fees, you submit the required documents, and the processing begins. The officials of the Lands Bureau will have to inspect the property.
Okay.
After that, then the governor's consent is issued.
So how long does that process take?
When you're talking about how long, sometimes the bureaucratic processes delays things. So I can't specifically say, okay, you'll get it in 30 days, you get it in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. I can't say that. It depends on the officials of the government. Once you submit your application, the usual thing is that it should take 30 days, but sometimes it takes more, 6 months, 1 year, but you definitely get it.
That's what we call the bureaucratic red tape. What relevance does the C of O have to take? What relevance does it? Is it relevant in this case, or you just say, okay, I have my governor's consent. The governor has consented me to buying the land, and I'm free. I'm this and that. Do you need the C of O at that point?
C of O is certificate of occupancy.
Okay.
So which the governor grants to anyone to occupy a property, to take charge of a property, or be in possession for a certain number, which we all know, 99 years. So with the C of O alone, you can't transfer interest. You will still need to obtain governor's consent to be able to transfer.
Okay. Now, I saw some properties in Ikoyi, and they had the federal governor's consent. With that kind of property, do you still need a state governor's consent, or you're fine?
Going by the Land Use Act, every land in a state is vested in the governor of that state.
So
whether you have a federal governor's consent, you still have to seek for the state.
Because it is that property is situated in a particular state.
Okay.
So the Land Use Act tells us that the governor is the owner of all lands in a particular state.
I also came across another word called gazettes. What does that mean?
That's the official document of a state, and it also exists at the federal level. So in the Gazette, it's not just about properties alone, but properties gazetted actually exist and are in the know of the state government.
Okay, I'm really fired up now. So when I get a piece of land from the Omoniles, what should I expect?
If you get a piece of land from the Omonile
land,
Omonile will always be Omonile.
Risky business.
Yes,
okay.
They are the owners of the land. There's nothing you can do. You have to keep appeasing them. They are gods that you have to keep appeasing, despite the fact that they will issue you purchase receipts. You go through all the processes and to obtain your title and all of that. But they will always exist. But just ensure that when you're dealing with Omonile, you're not dealing with them directly.
Okay.
Yes, you need the intervention of a lawyer.
Okay,
to
because
deal with all of that.
I've seen some properties that you buy the land, they come. You put the foundation, they come. You want to paint, they come. You want to do decking,
you
they
see
come.
them.
When will they stop coming? When does it end? Because there's some innocent buyers that have some aunties, uncles that take them somewhere. At the end of the day, they fall into the hands of Omonile. Omonile might have sold the land to like a gazillion people.
Absolutely.
And so what is the solution in that case?
If I'm to tell you the truth, there's no solution to Omonile matter.
Okay.
There's no solution to it. That's the truth. Even though the Land Use Act vests all lands in the governor, some people are actually the owners of that land.
Okay.
And these are the Omonile. So you mentioned that when you want to lay the foundation, they come. Yes, because that's why they are Omonile. Whatever development you want to do on their land, even though they have sold their interest, yes, their interest is transferred to another person, they still believe that the land belongs to their forefathers, their great whatever, and it will always come. So for any development, you just keep aside a sum just to ensure that they allow you do whatever you want to do smoothly. But on the other side of it is that you ensure that whatever dealings you have with Omonile, ensure you have your purchase receipt from the right source. There's always the principal members of the family, and all of these people you must ensure that they sign your deed of assignment. The right person issues your purchase receipts for you, and then that covers you.
How do we know the right person
in the family?
In the family.
Well, you need to do your investigation.
Wow.
Yes, it takes a lot, but you need to do your investigation.
So are there people that do that kind of investigation? Are they people we can employ to do that kind of investigation for us?
I'm sure within the family, they will always tell you, this is our Olorieri, this is the person we relate to. So within that family, you will always have one person that will always want to lean towards the buyer just for some extra coins.
Right.
So from such a person, you can get all the facts that you need, but all the same, you still need to be very careful.
I look in Lagos and I see estates. Do they have a joint COO in those estates, or does each house have its own independent COO?
So for estates like that, there's something called global COO. So that is the COO that covers the entire land of the estate. So each individual person it operates something like a sublease.
Mm-hmm.
That's each rest they have.
Piece of the pie.
Yes.
Everybody has a piece
exactly.
Of the pie.
But
Because
there's
I drive through estates and I'm wondering something that will tie them together and everything. Okay, so that's something a lot of diasporans should actually bear in mind.
yes.
So now the process of transfer, how do we resolve disputes or issues that arise during a transaction?
Relating to land. Hmm. Where disputes occur, the first step is to try and embrace mediation to talk about it. Embrace mediation, but where the issue cannot be resolved through mediation, then you approach the court with the competent jurisdiction to resolve it.
Wow.
Yes, and the high courts are vested with the jurisdiction relating to land matters.
I know I've taken a lot of your time, but I still have one more question. What are the consequences of not complying with the legal requirements of property transactions in Nigeria?
Where you do not comply, you stand a lot of risk. First and foremost, where you need the property to obtain a loan or you want to get a mortgage, your property cannot stand as collateral. That's one. And secondly, in the event of demolition by state authorities,
Mm-hmm.
you risk, not payment of compensation. So only lands with properties with registered titles get compensation from such demolition activities.
Talking about compensation, the properties that were delivered on the bank areas in the quarter, were there any chances of them being compensated?
If they have their registered titles, they will be compensated. And it's one thing that Lagos State is known for is that Lagos State will always compensate where you have valid documents. The documents or the property rather is validly registered. Definitely, Lagos State pays compensation. It may take a while, but they will eventually pay.
Because I know that the rail going through Lagos State has they've taken off people's residences and they've been compensated. And I also know that some landlords have been compensated, but they still rented out the property. So what does the tenant have? The landlord has collected compensation. He knows his property is going to be demolished. It's going to be compensated, and he still goes ahead out of it to rent out that property, be it a room, be it a toilet. He still rents it out. What does that tenant have at stake?
Well,
I mean, they have a lot at stake. They are not.
Yes.
Because what's the result? What do they?
In such a situation, the tenant can actually hold the landlord in the lockout to get their money back because he knew that the property will be demolished, or maybe he will have been. But most times, before compensation, the property will have been demolished. But where it is not, then they are entitled to refund of the money paid.
Wow. So, thank you very much, Barrister Yewande Echi Omonile. It's a pity barrister, isn't it? Anyway, now we know the do's and don'ts from a legal perspective. And for my fellow Nigerians in diaspora that want to come home to have a property here, you can go back to my diasporian blog and also merge it with this one and have full knowledge of what you need to do to get a property with ease. Concrete blocks is an essential part of construction in Nigeria, and it's not a secret that the quality of these blocks can make or break a building project as the demand for housing and infrastructures continue to rise. The need for high-quality concrete blocks has become more pressing than ever. But what makes a good concrete block, and how can we ensure that our local manufacturers are producing blocks that meets the highest standards? Welcome back to my channel. This is Tayo Akishawan, the CEO of Jackie A Properties. I have observed when houses collapse, the blocks that were like this, they become powder. Why do we experience this? One major problem the local manufacturer faces is that there is no standard method for making concrete blocks. Everyone seems to have their own way of doing it, which leads to a huge difference in quality. For example, some manufacturers use more sand than cement to save the costs, but this results in blocks that crumble under pressure. Imagine building a house and over time the walls start to crack because the blocks weren't strong enough. This is what happens when profit comes before quality. On the other hand, some manufacturers might not even realize they're producing low quality blocks. They might mix materials by guesswork instead of using the proper measurements, leading to blocks with air pockets or uneven texture. Think of a loaf of bread full of air bubbles. Just like the bread won't hold up to a sandwich, these blocks can't hold up a building. The lack of resources and expertise also plays a big role. Some manufacturers can't afford good equipment or don't have the access to training, so they end up producing blocks that aren't durable. This is a big risk in a country like Nigeria, where the buildings need to withstand heavy rains and high temperature. Consistency is another big hurdle for many local block manufacturers. Imagine ordering blocks for your project and discovering that some are strong enough to hold a wall, while others crumble like dry cake. This inconsistency often happens because the manufacturer does not follow a standard recipe or process. For example, one batch might have the right mix of cement, sand, and water, but the next batch might skimp on cement just to cut costs. The result? Blocks vary in strength, durability, which can jeopardize the safety of an entire building. Another issue is the lack of quality control. My pet phrase. Many manufacturers don't have proper systems to spot and fix defects before the blocks hit the market, or uneven surfaces end up being sold, creating a market flooded with low quality products. These blocks can't handle the weight and the stress of the building, leading to dangerous collapses. One of the quality block making industries that I can vouch for in Nigeria when it comes to making very good blocks that they have their acts together is Henry Wallis Nigeria Limited. I can vouch for them. They produce quality blocks, they have the equipment, they have the staff. In my next video, we'll be going round Henry Wallis Nigeria Limited. The COO has promised to take us round the facility, and we'll also see what quality blocks look like in terms of dimension, in terms of strength. So what set these manufacturers apart when it comes to producing high quality concrete blocks? The key is to start with the right materials. This means that using high strength cement, good water, and aggregate that's free from impurities. I hope you've learned one or two things from this video. Thank you very much for watching my channel. If you have any questions about concrete blocks, put it in the comment section so that when we're with the COO in my next video, he will answer these questions and he will steer us in the right direction on what we should look out for when we're going out to buy our blocks.
I promised to take you around a factory that produces quality blocks. Today we're going into Henry Wallis Nigeria Limited. They produce paving stones, hollow blocks 6 inches, 4 inches, 9 inches, and curves. So come along with me, let me show you what we do. That's the equipment. You can see the equipment over there. We produce curbs, we produce blocks, and I'm going to give you a tour and show you how quality blocks are being produced. Due to the high demand in properties now, the factory is practically empty because deliveries go out every moment. Today we're now restocking because we have another huge order that is going out. So that's why you can see that production is going on and the inventory is very low because we're trying to build it up again for another big order. One of the components of making very good blocks is what we call sharp sand. This sand is very sharp and coarse. Another component is called granite. Yeah, granite dust. This is granite dust for the blocks. And then we have the cement. I'm not going to touch that. We have the water. As you can see, it's pipe-borne water. And then there's an additive. This is not water. We call this the accelerator. This helps in strengthening the blocks. And everything is mixed in here to form a very homogeneous mix. Homogeneous is where everything mixes together and they are of the same consistency. We have buckets here which we use in measuring. We have measuring buckets. This is another form of sharp sand, but this is used in producing paving stones. We also have road curbs, paving stones, blocks, but our products are actually customized. The clients will give us the strength they want. Now these are the 9 inches hollow blocks, as you can see. I would like if you bring the camera closer, can you hear the sound? Now, someone is going to do a test for you, and in fact, I'll do the test myself. What we do, we lift the block up. This is the preliminary test we do. Can you see? That's how durable our blocks are, and that's how strong our blocks are. These are not biscuit blocks. These are blocks. Some people actually use our blocks for their foundations instead of casting that concrete. They would rather use this because they're strong. And I've just performed an experiment for you. Now, we also take inventory. Not only do we take inventory, we have production dates. Like you can see here, these were produced on the 28th of the 10th. So it's an establishment where due diligence is done. We know what we have in stock. In my next video, I'm going to also bring in a quality control person from a top construction company who is going to tell us how they now test for these blocks to meet to their specification. What I just did for you was a sample test for any client that comes in to test it. But there is also a laboratory test which they call the crush test. In the crush test, they will test the strength of the block and other things. She will come and she will tell you everything about it. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. I'm sure I surprised you when I said I was the COO. So stay with me and I will talk to you about the curing process, the mixing process, and the compaction process. Because the reason why these blocks are strong is because of the rate of compaction on these blocks. Because of the equipment we use an automatic machine, and this machine produces 1,500 blocks a day in an 8-hour shift. It also produces 300 square meters of paving stones, which is actually a very, very good number. The basics of concrete. Concrete is a mix of 3 main ingredients: the cement, that glues and binds everything together. The aggregates, which is the sharp sand and what we call stone dust. Stone dust is granite that is crushed. And then water, good water. We have a very good water supply in Henry Wallace. And we also add an additive which we call the accelerator, which accelerates the drying and also adds strength to the blocks. With all the information you know now, you've physically seen what the blocks look like, you've seen how they've been produced. A stitch in time saves 9. You now know the difference between quality blocks and substandard blocks. I've also spoken with a quality control analyst with one of the top construction companies, and she's also coming over to show us how these materials, these end products, even the sand, everything, how they're being tested before they use them to even before construction. And the properties built by this company are top notch. Let me know in the comments section if you found something helpful or if you have any questions about concrete block manufacturing.
Construction is the backbone of any building in a society. For ensuring quality at every stage is what makes a building safe and lasting. From the quality of the blocks to the foundation strength, one mistake could jeopardize an entire project. Whether it's a brand new build, an addition, or a renovation, the safety, durability, and integrity of a project starts with 2 essential processes: material testing and site inspection. This conversation is for anyone looking to build safely, avoid costly mistakes, and understand the quality standards that truly matter. To help us navigate this topic, I have with me Mrs. Kehinde Adegboyega. She's a seasoned quality control expert in the construction industry. You're welcome to my session, my little space, not formal, be relaxed. I'd like you to introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Thank you so much, ma'am. My name is Adegboyega Kehinde. I'm a civil engineer, and I've been in this business for over 20 years. And
Wow.
majorly, I deal in quality assurance and quality control. And
Wow.
thank you for having me in your space.
Over 20 years in quality control. I've actually had experiences with Mrs. Adegboyega, and she does not cut corners. If you're not up to standard, you're not up to standard. Now, I want you to tell us the kind of tests you do in the construction world, and where you start from. Do you start from the blocks? Do you start from the steel? Do you start from the soil? Do you start from the site? Where exactly do you start from, and what exactly are the tests that you do?
Okay, thank you so much for the questions. We have a lot of processes to put in place before we even move into the site, but I will not go into those preamble. I'm starting from the area of the site, and before you can go on with any project, you must have done some testing prior to having the contract being signed. You must have done your soil test so you know the...
Oh, there's a contract. Wow,
Yes.
You see, there's money involved.
Yeah. So you must have done your soil test because you need to know the soil bearing capacity of that area before you begin to have your designs. And having that in mind, that is what is being sent to the structural engineers who will now do the design to conform to the strength that we have. Then when you already have that...
Step in? Can I step in?
Go ahead, ma'am.
You said something, you said soil bearing capacity. Yeah. What does that mean?
It means the maximum load that that particular soil or land can take.
Okay. So
without having collapse.
To the best of my knowledge, we have the sharp sand, soily, beachy sand. We have the swampy soil. We have the muddy soil. Are those the tests? What kind of tests do you carry out there?
Yes, you carry out those tests because you need to know the integrity of those soils. Because it depends on the project you want to have. If it is so high rise, then you need stability.
Okay, so what kind of soil is best for that?
No, it's not a particular. You won't say soil or land. Depends on where you already have your land. So you design based on the land. that you have. So if it's
Okay.
going to take pile, then you know you have to use piles. But if it's just going to be straight foundation, then it depends on the thing.
She's too intelligent. Can you please tell us what piles mean?
Okay.
Because I heard piling. We're going to do piling. Please, what is piling?
Yeah, it's just a
Is it
piles
tiling?
are yes a kind of
Oh, what do
a type of foundation. You have
Okay.
different types. You have the strip. The strip is just almost normal. When you have the ground, it's stable and it's good. You don't expect too much. When we add loads, you don't have too much pressure on the ground itself. Those piles, you can use them in waterlogged area. Then also when you have high-rise buildings, you cannot expect a strip foundation to bear that load. So that's why you have piles on areas like that.
Okay, so we had a collapse in Ikoyi where we had overloading. You know, when the guy overloaded the building. Would you say the foundation was also faulty, or the foundation was not strong enough for the load it was carrying?
Okay. Based on that particular incident, I would say that it went beyond the designed capacity of that the building, because you must have designed for a number of floors. When you go
Yeah.
beyond that, it begins to tell on the foundation.
On the
Then
foundation.
there is no way the foundation can carry, because it wasn't designed to carry more than a certain amount of floors.
Okay. Okay. Now, can you now tell us about this? Because I didn't want to forget those things. As you were talking, it was coming up. So
Okay.
can you tell us now the kind of okay, you told us about the soil, and then what's the next one before you go into site?
Okay, so when you've done those tests, you've tested your soil, then you give it to the designer, you design based on that. Then the next thing is to think of, then I also say it depends on the kind of clients that you have. Some big time client will tell you what they want. After they'll ask for the specification you use, and you design based on that. So you must have a specification, because you can't just build on here. Just have an idea on here. It must be stated.
Okay.
So when you state this, you tell us what and what needs to be done at every stage, then the kind of material they need to use in those areas. You also tell us about the kind of how will I say, input you need to make in area, like, okay, let's come to foundation. You have to tell us the type of foundation they need. Then based on the design, you have to follow the design. Then somebody needs to monitor that too, because you don't just go ahead. It needs monitoring. When it comes to monitoring, then that's where quality control comes in. Then when it comes to your substructure, you've done that. Then superstructure, everything is going in a sequence, and must have been stated in that specification, and you have to work around it.
Okay, so there's like a scope. You have a scope when you want to start a building. You have a scope, and each scope is in stages.
Exactly.
Okay, so what type of tests do we now carry out? We've now talked about the ground for breaking. So what type of tests do you now carry out on the materials you're going to use to start on
the
land?
tests to be carried out will have to be based on the type of project. Okay, because if it's not a capital intensive project, we have some minor ones that we can carry on. But when it comes to bridges, we know that there are some that you cannot go. So when we're talking about buildings now, okay, let's talk about buildings now. Okay, you already have that. When it comes to building, you have your materials. Now, I want to point out here that you should be very specific about your source, the source of your material, because at the end of the day, it builds up to what you have as a total product. Okay, so when it comes to sand, you have to have a source, and that source must be constant, because mostly when you have it in Nigeria, they take their supplies from here and there, and A is not B, C is not D. Okay, so when you begin to mix A and B together, you will not have the result that has been set out to have.
They will not be consistent.
Exactly. So prior to that, what you do is the trial mix for your concrete. Okay, and the trial mix will tell you what and what to add in the right proportion.
Okay.
And probably maybe you have to need add additives. The plasticizer can add it. This one makes the concrete to be more workable, and I believe that you will not really need retarders, because it's probably a small project. You don't need to then, because probably you are mixing on site, then you don't need retarder. But if you are going to get your concrete from ready mixed concrete,
that
That truck that's...
Yes. So if you are
Okay.
going to get your concrete from a ready mix company, that means they need to use retarder. And in all of that, you need to put everything in place. So that's when you say you're talking about your trial mixes. Okay. So now the designer must have stated the class of concrete that is required per part of the structure. When it comes to the substructure, you need higher class. Then it depends on the soil too. So maybe if it is a swamp, you need to you have to use some kind of cement that's water absorbent and all of that. So that's why you have to do your trial mixes. Then when you have done with those trial mixes, probably about 2 or 3 before you reach the one that you want. Then in all of that, you must have stated the amount of cement, the amount, the sand, the water, the aggregates. Then you begin to work with that. Then the key will begin to see that you are working as per what you have on ground.
Okay. The trial mix of the concrete is for the foundation, isn't it?
Not just for every part of the...
For every part of the building,
Exactly.
the foundation. There's something called lintel.
The superstructure. You just see the
Aha.
foundation is the one. That's what we call the substructure. Then the one above is the superstructure.
Wow. Okay. Now we've learned something again. Talking about the rebar. I learned that today. Rebar. These are the rods that you have in something different MMs. Also, you also have the blocks and your plastering. So what tests, what kind of tests do you do on those ones?
Okay, good. So when it comes to reinforcement plays a key role in construction because at the end of the day, it's like the bones in your body.
The skeleton.
It's actually the bones that you have, because if your bones are exposed, then you begin to see error on the skin, right? So the same way in your concrete too. So it's very important that you have it of the highest grade possible. So, and not just to buy from anywhere, you should have it controlled too. And you control to the extent that you are able to monitor the heat numbers of those reinforcements and where they are being used. So you can actually trace peradventure there's a failure. But if it's a control system, you will not talk about failure now. But if it's not a controlled area, then probably it might come from the reinforcements. Yeah.
Okay. What in numbers? What kind of tests do you carry out on blocks? And what is the comprehensive strength that you recommend, the minimum you recommend for a block in a building?
Okay, thank you, ma'am. The blocks, what we see around here is, I will say that they are controlled because you have blocks that the integrity are very, very bad. But when it comes to block, I would advise that you have it from a seasoned company that puts quality to their hearts. Okay, so for a controlled one, I will suggest that you have at least 2.8 meters per mm squared.
Wow, that's high.
At 28 days.
2.8
after 28 days of production.
Wow. Okay. We visited Henry Wallis the other day. I did a demonstration of a block, and that block was 4 MPa over 28 days. It actually did not break. We did the on-site demonstration. What kind of demonstration do you do in the lab?
Okay, good. That's what we'll carry out the test called the comprehensive strength test, where you pick randomly a set of blocks, 10 pieces per production day. And that's
expensive though.
Yes, because if you are going to deal on integrity, you need to actually be assured. So that anywhere you go, you'll be proud and you'll be bold enough to say your blocks are good. So when you take 10, that is what is on the standard anyway.
Okay.
You take 10, randomly, you check the dimensions. And when you're done with the dimension, you place them in the machines and the blocks are being crushed. And when you have your strength, should at least have, like I said earlier, 2.8 meters per mm squared, probably for non-load bearing. But if load bearing, you should be talking about 4 Newton per mm squared and above.
Okay, so now we know where to go when we need our blocks and what to look out for. What about the steel? What tests do you carry out?
We subject them to a lot of tests. We do the chemical analysis. And that's why for projects that are capital intensive, you have to go for those tests too, because you need to be assured we're actually using the right reinforcement. They will take it to the laboratory for tests for chemical analysis. Then you do the elongation test, bend and rebend test, and a lot like that.
Bend
And
and
rebend.
rebend. Okay, now we're learning. So, do you test the water?
Yes, we do. When you're dealing with projects like this, or any kind of project at all, be it doctor, you need to be assured that your water is good. It has to be potable water.
Potable water.
Exactly.
Because since we're dealing with iron rods, I know the
Has to be
water can
potable.
cause corrosion.
Exactly.
So those
it
are the
has to
kind of
be
tests you would.
potable water.
Okay, soft water, hard water.
Potable as long as you can drink it.
So that's soft water.
Exactly.
Okay. There's a quick test for soft water that we learned in secondary school, and what it tells you that you just put drops of soap in it, you shake it. If it lathers, it's soft. You don't need to go to the lab. On site, am I correct?
Right.
In the course of at the beginning of our conversation, you talked about testing the soil. How does that affect cracks on buildings? What causes cracks on buildings? Not plaster crack, or crack inside.
So when you have such kind of deep cracks, then probably
deep cracks. Sorry, I said inside. I wanted you to.
Deep and wide cracks.
Yeah.
It means that there's something wrong with the foundation. The foundation could be settling.
Okay, that's the settling
yes.
of the foundation.
So that means before they place the concrete for the foundation, they didn't do enough work on the soil itself, because you need to compact the soil and carry out
compaction.
Yes.
Okay.
Then probably there is a seepage of water through the soil and it's coming in. So you need to work on probably those kind of building. Maybe they didn't use the damp-proof course, the membrane.
Yeah. I'm sure that causes collapsing.
Exactly.
Because when it rains and there's erosion, it exposes the foundation.
Exactly.
Okay. I've done a video on that. We would also put that in the link.
Additionally, when I was talking about materials initially, I said you should have a control source. I believe if you are having this in Nigeria, we'll not be having so much collapses here and there. Because when you have your design based on a particular material from a particular area, probably the sand from a particular dredging area and your aggregate from your particular dredger, when you begin to change it, because materials have different properties in different areas. So when you begin to mix them together, you begin to have issues.
Okay, so I want to build a bungalow. Would I need to do all these tests?
Well, bungalow doesn't carry much load. Okay, but at least you should know the soil.
What if I want to do? What if I come to you and say, okay, I'm building a bungalow, and at the end of the day, I do my Nigerian overloading?
That will now not bear on the designer. It will now bear on the client, the owner of the building, because the building was designed for a purpose, and when you begin to change it, then that's when the issue comes in. And there is nothing they will do to the designer at that particular stage. Yes.
So all these,
whatever he has done must have been binding.
So what do you think about all these cantilever houses where it starts off from the beginning at about maybe 300 square meters, and as it's going up, they deck it, cantilever it, becomes 600 square meters, it goes up, becomes 1,002 square meters. What do you think about those ones?
Yeah, nothing to be said about that, except that, like I said, it must have been designed. Okay. Because when you start your designs from top to down, right? So they must have factored all of those.
Must have calculated. Yes, okay.
It's only when it is not as designed that you begin to have issues.
Okay. So lots of those Udumota houses that collapse, it's like those houses were built with cardboard when they collapse.
Yes.
That means it is faulty from foundation.
Then when you design buildings too, when I say the purpose, you design for residential, you design for commercial. So those ones must have been factored into the design. Now what you have in Udumota is mostly, they must have been designed for residential, but at the end of the day, you see them having factories designed for a particular number of people, but
Mm.
at the end of the day, you see them overloading and begin to have issues.
Everything
Over
about those
time, over
houses
years,
are
then you have issues.
everything about those houses have issues. Even the staircase are so narrow.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
like, really?
Mostly because they don't use seasoned and qualified contractors.
He talks about that. The developers do not invest in experienced labor. They just pick this one, pick the one you see there today is not the one you see there tomorrow. So it's actually a problem. There's
Yes,
also
it
a
is.
breakdown in communication. Yeah. You talked about the population in a property. Okay. If a house is designed, if at the time the house is being built, it's designed for one man and his dog, is there a standard? Like, okay, maximum of so people. What's the minimum maximum of people that can stay in a property
In a
when it's built?
property, you cannot say specifically a number of persons. But what will guide you is what we call the factor of safety. If it is the because when you design for the dead loads and you design for the life loads. Okay, so for example, like bridges, okay, like we have all over Nigeria, it's actually designed as, because when your vehicle is moving, it's designed as life. You're going, you're not staying. But what we have this recently is you see
You see tankers.
trucks
You see
rightly on top. The bridges were not designed for such purposes. Then when it comes to our buildings too, if it's basically residential, then the load you can have from your chairs, from your
Yeah, that's your dead
yeah,
load.
you must have been designing it. So when you begin to put maybe machineries, then you did not design for vibration and all of that. You didn't design for those things. Then you begin to have issues.
Now I understand. So when people convert residential homes
Commercial,
into commercial factories, there is a problem.
exactly.
Fine.
Because
So
you have added to the dead load.
you've added to the dead load. But is the vibration dead load? The vibration is
Because it might be there for a very long time. So it's a
okay.
dead
It's a
load.
dead load.
But his life is moving and it's not staying, it's moving and it's not staying.
Thank you, Mrs. Kehinde Odegboga. I am so thrilled, and I'm sure my subscribers are so happy to learn this, because a lot of money is lives, money, everything is it's like developers are, or should I say developers, should I say builders, and it's in terms of money it's a lot, in terms of life it's a lot. So I am so glad that you could put a light and insight into all these things. So thank you. Thank you for coming. Please, if you want any consultation, we'll leave her details in the comment section. You can contact her. She's tried and tested. Today's topic is one that hits home. We're talking about something every homeowner in Nigeria or tenant should take seriously: how to protect your home from disasters and crime. Whether you own a duplex in Lagos or a flat in Jos, the truth is our homes face real risks, from flooding and fires to break-ins. But the good news is there's a simple step you can take to reduce these risks. So let's talk about how we can protect not just our building, but your peace of mind.
Living in Nigeria comes with its fair share of challenges, and unfortunately, some of these affect our homes. From natural disasters like floods, storms, and fires to man made ones like theft and burglary, homeowners are constantly exposed, and the stats don't lie. Every year, millions of Nigerians are affected by the floods and the fire outbreaks and have destroyed homes and even the entire community. But here's one thing: knowing the risk is the first step towards protecting yourself. So let's break them down and see what we can actually do about them. If you've ever lived through the rainy seasons in Nigeria, you know floods aren't just something you see in the news. They happen right in front of our home. So how do you stay ahead of it? First, keep your drainage clear. It might sound basic, but blocked gutters are one of the biggest causes of flood on the streets. If your area is flood prone, invest in simple controls. Even sandbags can do the emergency work. to take important items to a higher level, your furniture, your documents. The furniture, just make extra stands, your documents, put them on top of the shelf. Things like that could help. And yes, flood insurance is a real thing. It could be a lifesaver when the unexpected happens. The goal here is to stay one step ahead of the water, not just react when it's already at your doorstep. Fire is fast, it doesn't give warnings. When it hits, the damage can be massive. See how you can fireproof your home. Install smoke detectors. Make sure they work. That tiny beep could save lives. Have a fire extinguisher, and most importantly, know how to use it. It's not just for decoration. Be careful with electrical wiring and appliances. Overloading sockets or leaving irons unattended can lead to disaster. And again, fire insurance is not just for big houses. Even small rooms deserve protection. The point is, prevention is always cheaper and safer than recovery. Let's face it, security is a top concern for most Nigerian households. And with the rising cases of burglary, it is important to be proactive. Get a home security system, even a basic one with a motion sensor or CCTV can deter criminals. Upgrade your locks. Don't rely on those tiny padlocks that anyone can break with a stone. Stay connected with your neighbors. A strong community watch is sometimes better than any alarm system. And yes, theft insurance can help you bounce back if the worst happens. Your home should be a safe space and not a target. A lot of people still think home insurance is a rich man's thing. But think about this. If something happened to your home tomorrow, could you afford to replace everything out of your pocket? Home insurance can cover damage to the building, loss of belongings, temporary accommodation if your house becomes unlivable. Even accidents happen inside your home. So instead of spending millions on recovery, spend a fraction on prevention, protection, peace of mind, all in one. Living in Nigeria comes with enough uncertainty. But when it comes to your home, you don't just have to leave everything to chance. We've talked about the risks and we've shared some practical ways to protect yourself. But there's still more to learn when it comes to insurance. And that's why we're excited to tell you this. In our next video, we'll be sitting down with a professional insurance broker, someone who understands the ins and outs of home insurance and how it really works in Nigeria. They'll also be breaking down what kind of insurance coverage actually exists for homeowners and tenants. Common mistakes people make when trying to get insured, step-by-step advice on how to get started, and how much it really costs to secure your home with insurance. So if you've ever felt confused or unsure about whether home insurance is worth it or how to even go about it, you don't want to miss it. Turn on your notifications, subscribe if you haven't already, and get ready to ask your questions. We'll make sure they are addressed in the interview. Remember, when you protect your home, you're protecting your family. Stay safe, stay smart, and don't forget to like and share this with someone who might need it. Today I'm going to introduce you to an independent insurance broker. She is Mrs. Lucy Mabiaku, and she's going to tell us everything we need to know about home insurance. So it's no longer, God forbid, but we're going to start spending our money wisely. So welcome to my channel.
Thank
Madam
you very
Lucy.
much.
Can you introduce us into the world of home insurance?
Yeah, my name is Lucy Mabiaku. Yeah, I am an independent broker in insurance. Yeah, I just want to talk about home insurance. We have different type of home insurance. We have the fire and burglary and special peril. If someone purchase a land or a property, we don't pay for that thing. We can't be saying, oh, I don't know. The insurance covered the property, it covered the content inside. When I mean the content, we talk about the share, the fridge, the AC, everything inside your building. We normally do 0.25%. That's our rates we give to any of our customers that wants to purchase the property. Mind you, we don't go for we don't insure land, but we insure the property and the content. When I mean property, maybe your full building, we have a form to fill. It's very simple. If someone says I want to insure the full estate, you're going to give us C of O.
So you're telling us now that when we insure our property under the fire and burglary,
Yeah,
it also includes home
home
contents.
content, yeah.
Okay, so what's the minimum premium or minimum payments they make every day, every month?
0.65. We're only covering the content, the household, which is the property, 0.25.
My subscribers would want to know, like in Naira and Kobo, what's their monthly payout?
Okay, let me say, maybe this building covered this building, the value of this building, and for instance, the value of this building is, let me say, 100 million. 100 million on 0.65. That would be 250,000, right?
Okay.
Yeah, for 100 million.
So what is their monthly payout? How much are they going to be paying?
They pay it once in a year.
Oh, it's just once a year.
Once in a year, 250,000 once in a year for a property of 100 million.
Okay.
The content.
So that includes the content.
Includes the content.
Now, this home contents insurance, does it include breakdowns? Like, okay, the microwave stopped working.
No, it doesn't include. It's only when it comes to breaking,
yes, fire,
flood, rioting.
What type of flood?
Rain during the rainy season.
What if the tap was left running?
No, that one is intentional.
So, accidental flood.
That the only accidental flood that we can pay is the rain.
How can you make them comfortable? They're ready to pay the 250,000
for 100,000
on 100,000. But they also want to know that for that payment they are getting something back in case anything happens.
No, it's still waiting, man. In case anything did not happen, the 250 just it's like the insurance administration.
It just sits there. And they can't claim it until something happens. Now, if something happens,
we pay 100 million naira of the damage. Like the one I did, one of my clients that it said happened to the car. He had a fatal accident, and the car is beyond repair. Right off. We company, my broker, were able to pay the person for the value of the car is 10 million naira. You understand? And the man pay us
is that the current value?
The current value, yes,
okay.
10 million naira. Paying it as 10 million naira. So when the thing was right off, we were able to pay the client the sum assured, which is the value of the car. He bought the car. He paid 10 million naira to the client. But what he gave up for his start was 500,000 naira for the premium once in a year. And such incidents happen. You know it's going to be accident. You normally pay for accident. It's only when flood occur. You know, that's why I said two things. The first one is 0.25 because of the building. When we want to do special period, we normally call it special period. We want to do special period, that's when we insure the full building, the content, and if you, in case the house got burnt, it's not this house. So, for example, I'm not trying to make an
I understand.
Yeah. You know, people like, God forbid, I don't want my house to get burned. No, so when we don't pray for that, thing, some have burned with the content. Normally charge 0.25 because you insure the full building with the content. But the one of 0.25 is just the building alone. The content is not inclusive. Do you get me, man? The content is not inclusive. So that's when anything happens to your property, your content, we don't pay. We only pay for the building. Maybe you cost the building for 100 million. That's when your premium is 250,000. Anything that happened, maybe the building got fired and got burnt. They are going to pay you 100 million for damage, for the incident.
Okay, because they actually don't even know there's anything called home insurance or home contents insurance or any insurance pertaining to home. A lot of people don't know. And then secondly, they're scared that they're paying a premium every year, and when the incident happens, there's story from the insurer. So they need that assurance that there is going to be a payout.
There's a form we will give you to fill, and there's a certificate we are going to tender to you, to any of the clients that are going to pick the insurance. So in case they defaulted, the insurance company default not to pay claim, they can sue that insurance company or they can sue the broker. You understand? Because the broker we don't underwrite. It's the insurance company that underwrite. At the end, if we as the broker we pass through any of the insurance company, we are still going to meet them for a claim. Broker don't underwrite. They only just get the business and take it to the insurance company. That's what we do. We broker, we don't underwrite. When we get the business, then that we are very reliable. When we get the business, we take it to a valid, a good insurance company. We have various insurance company there, which we can take the business to. Now, when it comes to claim, we'll be very safe.
Yeah.
But it's negotiable. We can reduce that for if I'm talking about the full content, the full cover, which is the building and the content, is negotiable. And we discuss well with the insurance company. Like I told you, we broker, we don't do that. Normally move it to the insurance company.
I know.
So when once so that we can still negotiate with them, let them know that we can pay 0.65. We want to reduce, maybe if you can take 0.45 or 0. We can, it's negotiable.
I'm also looking at a situation where there's a house with no doors and he's insuring it because he doesn't want to he doesn't have any form of security. Is there inspections you do?
That's what I wanted to say. Before you carry out any insurance or fire burglary, we the broker will come for inspection. Even the insurance company will still come for inspection. They'll come and check what you have in the building, the concept, how we have inventory. As you are picking insurance, you are listing all the things you have. So when we notice that you don't have a good security or you don't have a good doors, when people just leave their house opened, we want to advise. That's why we are in insurance. Like, before you can fix this, before we can underwrite your insurance, your policy, you need to fix this, that. You understand? Because you cannot just open your door open and you expect the insurance company to insure your things at the end, you're not run loss. Fine, insurance company, they don't complain. We're only trying to explain an independent insurance broker. You understand? So you need to we give a good inspection. We come and check the context, the house before we are insuring. We don't just insure anyhow because we want to keep us in No, we don't do that.
There are criteria involved in insuring your property. It has to meet up with the criteria of insurance. Not that you just insure or you believe that you have an uncle, probably your uncle owns an insurance company, and you believe that his family, irrespective. No. It's like having a credit check. You make sure that you've crossed all the T's, you've dotted all the I's for your insurance to come, for the underwriters to actually approve your property. Do they have to pay that premium once a year? Can't it be spread over the year?
It can be spread for 6 months.
To make things to encourage people to actually go for it. Because if someone says, if you have a property of 100 million and you're to pay 250,000 at a go, it's a lot.
You can go for 6 months. That's 125,000. When you pay a lapse for 6 months, make sure you have to pay the balance.
They can't have it as a monthly direct debit.
No, we don't do monthly direct. We do half yearly, 6 months. We don't do monthly. The insurance company, they don't do monthly. It's only when you do savings, that's when you do monthly. When it comes to
I think it's something you have to look into where people just say, okay, monthly, I'm paying a monthly insurance. It just goes out of the after the account direct, and it's something they are not going to feel that much. And
no, we don't do monthly, but I know they can squeeze in quarterly, half yearly, and yearly.
Wow.
Yeah, I know they do that. But when it comes to the monthly payment, insurance company, they don't really run it. They believe it's of no use because when someone did the 1 month, for them to get the following month become very difficult. Before maybe incident happen now, I don't know, then no premium, no cover.
You guys are quite harsh now.
Yeah, sorry about that. Because maybe 31st, just click now. After 31st, it lapses. On the first, you've not paid. Second, you've not paid. Third, you've not paid. Anything happen, insurance might not pay anything. So when you do the quarterly, before you know, it's very easy for you. anything that comes like that, you can able to access your claim. But the process of doing monthly, really the what I learned in the broking system, they don't do monthly payment, they normally do quarterly after and yearly. Because they have a waiting period. When I say waiting period, when you pay for 1 month, nothing happens. 2 months, it's only the third month something will happen. And you not paid for a month, something not happen. That means you won't get a claim. There's nothing.
Yeah, it's very.
So it's
Everything is really, 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 really very
sure you
unpredictable.
understand. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much,
You're welcome,
Madam
ma'am.
Lucy.
Thank you.
I've learned a lot, really. I've learned a lot,
Thank you, ma'am.
and we're still going to call you back.
Thank you.
But how easy is it to access you? Are you easily accessible?
Yes, we are very easy to access, ma'am.
Okay.
Through my contact, through my email, through you.
Okay. So you see her details also in the description box. It was a pleasure having you on my
Thank
show.
you very much.
Thank you very much. I am very, very concerned about what is happening in the world today. The rain is heavy, the foundations are faulty, we have floods everywhere, we have fire outbreaks everywhere. I mean, when you have some funny electricians that will do your work and at the end of the day, it leads to a fire. So thank you very, very much for watching. So don't forget to like, subscribe and share my channel. Bye-bye.